I wanted to talk about buying more house than you might have thought about. Or another way to say it is maybe spending more money to save money, which sounds counterintuitive, but I have this conversation with people frequently where I usually find one of two things with clients that are getting pre-approved. One is I'll tell somebody you're pre-approved for a certain figure and they say, is that all? And they want more and more, and they really want to spend way beyond their budget, more than I can get them approved for. But they're just not aligning with their wants with their budgets. And then, believe it or not, there's another problem. I'll talk to people and I'll say you're approved up to a certain number, and they'll say, oh, I would never spend anywhere near that much. And the first thing I think of is, okay, you're just going to be coming back to me sooner than you think. And, sometimes clients turn into this lifelong annuity of income stream for me, which I don't want. I don't want people coming back to me every 2, 3, 4 years. Oh, that last place wasn't big enough. Oh, it was the wrong community. It was a longer commute than I wanted. So really, when you think about it, we tend to, when we buy things, certainly a house, it's a zero-sum game, right? Spending less money, you save money, but that's not necessarily true. For one reason, the transaction costs in buying and selling real estate are enormous. So given that, you really don't want to do it too many times. The less frequently you can do it in life, the more you'll save in transaction costs. But when you think about that on a bigger scale, if you go through life and you're always kind of cutting corners or going towards the cheaper end of your budget and thinking you're saving money, this is what I did. And, my very first home, which was a long time ago, was a 2-bedroom townhouse, 1-car garage. I really wanted a 3-bedroom, 2-car garage because I wanted to have a roommate and I was going to have a spare room for my mom who came to visit frequently. And, I got the roommate, but mom slept on the pull-out couch. I only owned that home for not even 4 years. I did it again. I got a studio condo next. Why didn't I get a 1-bedroom or a 1-bedroom den? Because I was cheap and I didn't have that place very long. So you churn so much in transaction costs. I actually went back over my lifetime and I added up how much have I saved by being cheap and spending maybe less than I really could have, maybe arguably should have. And then how much did I spend in transaction costs? Because, arguably in my life, if I've owned 7 homes, I probably should have only owned 4. So I add up the excess transaction costs. I compare that to the savings, because I did save money by being cheap and spending less than I really could have or should have. I ended up spending more on the transaction costs than the monthly savings. So going back to the original principle, had I spent more on these homes, maybe I would have owned less and in the long run would have spent less. That's crazy to think of, right? Spend more to save more. Another reason to consider that is kind of what I call buying ahead of the curve. It's just another thing where maybe you think you need a 2-bedroom now, but getting the 3-bedroom, whether it's a growing family or you just want more space or you want the 3rd bedroom as a home office, or maybe you don't think you'll need it, but you do need it for some point in the future. Buying ahead of the curve means, oh gosh, now we need another place because we only got the 2-bedroom to start. Now we need the 3-bedroom. Anything you can do to stay in a home longer, it just fits part of the buy and hold mentality. And when you think about life, look at some of the ups and downs in the stock market. Buy quality stocks or mutual funds and hold on for dear life. And if the market has a correction, at some point it always seems to come back, doesn't it? That's what history shows. Same thing with housing. Buy something you love, buy something certainly that's in budget, but don't go arbitrarily to the low end of your budget and cut corners and think it's a zero-sum game. Maybe it's okay to spend a little bit ahead of the curve and buy ahead of the curve because for the reasons I'm citing, it might actually make sense in the long run. Another thing to consider as part of this principle, maybe, I'm not saying you have to, but maybe spending a little more than you had intended is you get a better return. Possibly you buy something that's more expensive. Well, then it's going to be a nicer asset, a nicer house than what you would have bought if it was cheaper. It's the 2-bedroom instead of the 3. No, get the 3. It's a closer in neighborhood. It's a better commute. It's a better level of finish. Maybe the one that's more expensive has got a renovated kitchen and bathrooms. Whatever it is that's causing it to be more expensive, you will find that you may get a better percentage return. Going back to the place that I bought that was a studio, I strictly bought it because it was just cheap. And that made me excited because it was cheap. And I was being arbitrary. And it was a zero-sum decision for me. When I sold that, and the market I sold it in was pretty hot, I didn't make a whole lot of money. It's a studio and just, a one bedroom's better than a studio, one bedroom den better than a one bedroom, two bedroom better than you get my point. I wish I would have spent more. I think I would have gotten a better return. Instead of not even 2% a year, maybe I would have gotten 4 or 5% a year on a better asset because I spent more money and I had a better asset, a better house, a better property to begin with. And then last, another thing to consider is you spend more, you love it more, you stay there longer, you've got the third bedroom instead of the two, or the second bedroom instead of the one, you've got parking instead of no parking, you've got a higher level of finish, whatever it is that's nicer because you spent more money. Let's also consider this. That's for you. You get the use and enjoyment of it. Spending more money, you get more square footage, you get more stuff, you get more utility, you get more beauty, you get a better commute, you get something for your money. You get to enjoy it while you own it, and then maybe you get a better percentage return. Maybe you live in it longer, and over your life of home ownership, you own fewer homes and you save on transaction costs. So it's just something to think about. It's a little frustrating to me if I say to somebody, you're qualified to an $800,000 purchase price, and they just, I would never spend, I'm capping out at 500,000 or 550 because maybe that monthly payment is very similar to their current rent payment. I think it's a big mistake. I think you'll be back to me in a short number of years to buy something bigger, better commute, whatever. It's just a consideration. It's not something that you have to do. I just think it's something to consider. And at the end of the day, it's your decision, of course. If a lender tells you you're qualified to 800,000 and you find something that you truly love, it's the commute that you want, it's the neighborhood you want, it's got the bedrooms and the square footage and the park, it just has everything that you want, well, then that's great. That's just great. There's nothing else to say. But do give some consideration to what I've talked about here and look at, if you're qualified for more, look across all those different price ranges and just really see what suits you and think about the long-term owning lesser properties. I'm not suggesting you should be able to buy your last house first and you never move again. I think that's difficult to do. Most of us can't afford the house that we would love to live in for the rest of our life. Plus, there's lots of other things like job relocation, family change, relationship change, too many things. That's a ridiculous concept to think that you're going to buy one house and never buy another house again. I just like the idea of considering maybe spending more to get something that you truly love, that you're going to be able to buy and hold and love for a long time. And hopefully it turns into a great investment as well. Thanks for watching. Of course, as always, feel free to contact me with any questions on this concept and discussion or any others. Thanks very much.